The movie kicks off with a guy named James. He's driving to his office, but he's actually an American secret agent. His job is to go undercover and pretend to work at a company in France. Not long after, his boss calls and gives him a new mission for the night. When night falls, James carries out the mission, and his mission is to change the license plate on a car parked in a lot. James is actually feeling quite bored with his job, as he always gets assigned to small missions. James craves a higher adrenaline rush mission. Later on, James heads back to his apartment, where his girlfriend Caroline is waiting for him. Caroline, who's just finished designing some clothes, excitedly shows them to James. The following day, James gets another mission from his boss. This time, he has to sneak a chip under a minister's desk. Despite a few failed attempts, James manages to successfully install the chip. Afterward, he goes back home as usual to meet with Caroline. But when he enters, he's shocked to spot what looks like bloodstains on the floor. However, it turns out Caroline spills tomato sauce, and then she surprises James by proposing to him. He's overjoyed and promises to make her happy. Soon after, James is contacted by his boss again, who wants him to help out a secret agent stuck in airport security. His boss also mentions that this mission is a promotion for James, with both James and Caroline are excited. That very night, James heads out to do his duty. The secret agent that he needs to help is Charlie. He got into some trouble at the airport because he insisted on bringing American canned drinks that weren't allowed in France. James, who was sent by his boss, comes to help Charlie out, and they manage to get him released. While they're in the car, Charlie explains that he had hidden his favorite pistol in one of the canned drinks. Then, Charlie asks James to stop at a Chinese restaurant because he's starving. Once Charlie is satisfied, he suddenly attacks a waiter, and there's a big shootout. Surprisingly, Charlie is really skilled, and he takes down all the bad guys. James is left wondering why Charlie did all this at a restaurant. After the chaos settles, Charlie reveals that the restaurant is just a cover for the Chinese mafia's drug operation. Later on, Charlie decided to fire his gun into the ceiling, which caused flour to go flying everywhere. Then he told James to grab some of that flour as evidence. It was clear that Charlie let one of the waiters live because he wanted to follow him to their secret hideout. While tailing the waiter, James asked Charlie about their real mission, but Charlie only mentioned they were going after some criminals. They'd followed the waiter for a while, and eventually they reached the headquarters of the Chinese mafia. As they were about to go in, they discovered that the mafia boss's henchmen were waiting, ready to take out Charlie and James. Charlie then took them down effortlessly. They sneaked into the building through the back door, but once again, they ran into more of the mafia boss's henchmen. Charlie handled them one by one while James watched from behind. In the end, they trapped the boss of the Chinese mafia, and Charlie forced him to disclose the names of all the drug dealers in the city. After getting the information they needed, Charlie and James quickly left the place. But just when they thought they were in the clear, the mafia boss's henchmen attacked them again. There was a shootout, and Charlie took them down while James mostly watched. After that, James called his boss and asked about their mission with Charlie, which was all about catching drug traffickers. The boss didn't give a straight answer, but basically said James should be proud to work with the world's best secret agent and that he wouldn't get boring missions anymore. The next day, James and Charlie were in the car, and James kept questioning Charlie about their real mission. Finally, Charlie revealed that they were after a terrorist who was using the drug trade as a cover. As soon as James heard the word terrorist, he freaked out. After that, Charlie took James to a karaoke spot on the roof of a market building. Charlie told James to act like he was an addict, and they even hired a prostitute from the local guy at the market. But just as they were about to go upstairs, Caroline accidentally spotted James with the lady. James got pretty mad at Charlie for didn't inform him beforehand about the kind of place they were going to. Charlie explained they weren't here just for fun. They were spying on some drug dealers in a Chinese restaurant. While James was monitoring, Charlie, who had already called in the lady, joined the room. James rang up Caroline, his fiancée, to let her know he was working. Then there was a knock at the door. Charlie told James to open it, and suddenly James got attacked by several people. It was unclear who had ordered the attack. While James was getting attacked, Charlie stayed focused on keeping an eye on the restaurant. After a while, Charlie finally spotted the two people he was after. He asked James to follow them. They trailed these two individuals to a residential area. In a casual manner, they pretended to be interested in buying illegal stuff. Once they got what they needed, Charlie suddenly pulled out his gun and confidently claimed they were secret agents. This sent the people there running in a hurry. Then Charlie told one of the dealers to lead them to his boss named Rashid. When they reached Rashid's room, they only found an elderly man inside. The old guy said Rashid was out, but his subordinates were downstairs. Charlie used a device to peek into the room below and saw Rashid's subordinates assembling a bomb. Charlie then took care of Rashid's subordinates one by one. James, on the other hand, managed to take down only one of them, while the rest escaped downstairs with a bomb. As they were about to leave, they stumbled upon a bunch of photos of James. It seemed that Rashid's crew had been keeping an eye on him for a while. Later that night, while they were relaxing, Caroline invited James and Charlie to have dinner at her friend's place. When they arrived, Charlie introduced himself to Caroline's friend. Shortly after, Charlie received an important call from someone. After the call, they continued with their dinner. However, when Caroline's friend received a phone call and mentioned the word Rose, Charlie acted swiftly and eliminated him. It turned out that Charlie had received information that one of Rashid's subordinates was in that apartment. And the word Rose was a secret code used by Rashid's group. Charlie also suspected that Caroline, James's fiancée, was part of Rashid's crew. James couldn't believe it. Amidst the chaos, Caroline suddenly shot James. It turned out Charlie's suspicion was true, and Caroline was no ordinary person. She managed to escape Charlie's pursuit and was picked up by Rashid's group downstairs. The following day, James had a gunshot wound on his arm. Charlie and the special agent team found lots of wiretaps in James's apartment. James was still puzzled why Caroline had been spying on him all this time. Shortly after, James's phone rang, and it was Caroline. The special agent team quickly tracked her location. Caroline apologized to James for spying on him and confessed her love for him. Sadly, she loved Rashid more than James. After the call, Caroline approached a car, and Rashid was inside. Rashid, a terrorist leader pursued by Charlie, was with Caroline in a city. Charlie realized that Rashid might be targeting French and American officials having a meeting in the same city. At that point, Charlie assembled some special agent teams to help protect the American officials heading to the meeting. On the way, Charlie spotted a car that belonged to Rashid's group, the same one used to pick up Caroline the night before. Surprisingly, Rashid was alone inside the car. Charlie was ready to take down Rashid when James suddenly got in touch. James urged Charlie to rush to the meeting because Caroline might already be there. Since Charlie was occupied, he instructed James to go to the meeting as he focused on targeting Rashid. Facing difficulties in taking a shot, Charlie eventually directed his team to find an alternative plan. It turned out that Rashid planned to crash his car into the American official's vehicle as they approached the meeting. However, just as Rashid was about to succeed, his car was shot. During this time, James made it to the meeting location. However, when he tried to get in, the guards stopped him because they found a pistol on him. Luckily, one of the ambassadors who knew James allowed him to enter, but they had to take away his pistol. Inside, James immediately started looking for Caroline, fearing she might be planning to bomb the meeting. At a certain point, James managed to snatch a pistol from one of the guards. He pointed it at Caroline, who had a bomb ready to go off under her robe. In this intense moment, James tried to convince Caroline not to detonate the bomb and professed his deep love for her. But Caroline, under Rashid's influence, didn't listen to James. In the end, James had to make the tough decision to stop Caroline. After all that happened, the important meeting between the two countries went well, and the movie came to an end. Moral lesson from the story: don't let your excitement take you to a karaoke joint with hidden criminals, especially if your girlfriend happens to be part of a secret group.